Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. It is 2 minutes past 4 o'clock, time for the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. My name is Loyd Kirby. I'm the marketing manager here, and for the next half hour, as we do on each 4 p.m. 411, we'll talk with folks from the area, newsmakers, folks in the know, elected officials, and we've got all three here today. As Mayor Tracy Welch, we had to depart from your normal schedule, and thank you for doing that on short notice.
Not a problem.
Had Jeanette Davis from the ROSC organization here talking about their Walk for Recovery last week, but we didn't want to miss a month with you, so here we are today. I guess probably the most newsworthy topic, the thing that's been on the most people's radars, or that people have seen the most, has been the fire downtown and emergency and displacement of family and all of those things. I'm guessing the cause and so forth is still under investigation.
It is.
I'm not sure how informed you are about those kinds of things, but is there anything that you'd like to share with us about the event or the response to it, or
Well, yeah, I put a statement out online about it the day following. I was really busy just kind of working with the chiefs and figuring out what they needed, and there were so many first responders there, which we're grateful to. But yeah, unfortunately that fire did happen, but we're very thankful that we had a lot of area first responders and departments that when we called and said we need your help, they rushed in. The community was just great, making sure that those first responders were fed and had water and drinks and the things that they needed. Very unfortunate for the property owner,
Sure.
surrounding businesses, and the individuals that were living there that are displaced. But fortunately, everybody is safe, and ultimately that's what matters.
Yeah, so as bad as things were, they certainly could have been a lot worse. So,
For sure.
As we said, the cause, I'm sure, is still under investigation, and so we won't talk about that just because maybe there's not much and there's probably not much you can share. If
I mean,
there is, so.
I can state that the building itself has been the investigation for the state fire marshal, and the ATF was also involved because there was a firearm shop in that building. Mm-hmm. They've already gone into the building and done what they need to do. The owner is working on removing items from that building themselves at their risk. It's still kind of an unstable building.
Right.
But yeah, the investigation, we probably won't know what the root cause of that is for a while, but I'm sure that the fire chief will share what he legally can once we find out.
Sure. And speaking of the fire chief, I was calling up the statement he issued to the media as published on LincolnDailyNews.com. I wanted to ask you about one part, and maybe this is not something that you can speak to, but
Sure.
One paragraph reads, due to the difficulty of gaining access to the fire along with the construction and age of the buildings, additional resources from multiple agencies were called to assist with setting up sustainable water supply and elevated master stream devices in the event of a defensive fire attack. So me knowing nothing but fires other than maybe how to roast a marshmallow over one.
Right.
And I still burn that most of the time anyway. But does that mean that area with the older buildings, such as that Sangamon Street area, is there a, for lack of a better term, like a lesser water supply in terms of fire hydrants and things like that than there are in the more modern parts of the city?
No, I think what they were trying to accomplish, and again, I'm not the fire chief,
Right.
but in conversations, they were trying to ensure that as they were trying to get enough water out to combat the fire, they also were not taxing and stressing the system because there's residents around there are businesses that were operating as well. So they did have multiple locations, even as far away as out on Fifth Street Road, where they were filling up tankers and bringing them down Fifth Street.
Right.
And they were trying to combat that. I mean, they were putting out like 4,000 gallons of water a minute
Wow.
to put that fire out. So yeah, fortunately, we have a good water system in this town, and we were able to work with the appropriate people to ensure that we had enough water to combat the fire.
All right, very good. So, and again, maybe this isn't something you're aware of either, but since you're here and you're on the hook, I'll ask you anyway.
Right.
Mentioned folks were displaced. I've seen different posts on social media. Are you aware of any sort of a what do I want to say, a collaborative effort or an organized effort to, like a bank account being set up or a donation drop-off spot or anything of that nature that you're aware of?
Yeah, I read something online about this. I have not spoke with that family yet, but they were displaced. I know that they were put up in a hotel,
Okay.
and that there were agencies that were attempting to help them. My understanding, based on what I've read online, is that those families have found other locations to go to.
Okay.
And I believe it was in an attempt to ensure that any monies that have been, donated or generated, they're not spending all in a hotel. They're spending them on the things that they need to survive. So if anybody does want to donate to the family, I will make certain that we find out who the appropriate people are and connect you.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I mean, as good as it can sound in that situation, but still lots of good people around helping out behind the scenes, and it's one of those. I refer to this often, but it's like the picture on Facebook where you see 10% of the iceberg above the surface and 90% below, and there's folks donating food and clothes and other things that aren't necessarily on social media or in the spotlight, but making sure people are getting taken care of.
That's a really good point. If you were following the fire that day and in the days that followed, our community really stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
They did. I mean, we forgot about all of the things that we usually normally bicker about online, and it was really about how do we help the family, how do we help the first responders, what can we do? And I think one of the biggest things that they did was they stayed back. Mm-hmm. And they allowed the first responders, because if you went down there, it was the definition of organized chaos. There was just so much going on.
Sure.
But they did a really good job of giving them the space they needed to tackle it. It was a hard fight. I mean,
I'm sure.
I don't think they declared that fire out until 4 in the afternoon, and it started around 8.
Right. Yeah. Because I was on my way to a meeting at the health department that began at 8:30. So about 8:15, I drove past, and I was like, it smells like something's going on. And then I saw a few sirens and some smoke, and I'm like, oh, there's a fire over there. And then I came out of the meeting it was, I think, roughly 10 o'clock. And, as you said, organized chaos. There were trucks and everything. And my wife was headed out 5th Street Road. And she was like, why is there a fire truck on 5th Street when the fire is downtown? And it was that replenishing the water. So
we had to actually put a statement out, because cars were and they weren't doing it intentionally. It's just 5th Street is a main corridor too, and people were using it, but the fire trucks needed to get up and down that road quickly, and that was hindered. So we put out a statement that simply said, if you don't have to be on 5th Street, can you please take an alternate route at least while they combat this fire? And again, the community was great in responding.
Right, absolutely. So more to come on that. Maybe I'll see if I can hit Chief Johnson up to come talk about that at a future date. Let's see, we're at 10 after already, so why don't we go ahead and take our first break. Once again, our guest today is Mayor Tracy Welch, the Mayor of Lincoln. 217-648-5510, the number to call, or you can email us questions, 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. We'll be back in 2 minutes with more from Mayor Welch. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center makes an impact locally and beyond through a wide range of events, ministries, and outreaches. Pastors Steve and Debbie Owens invite you to worship Sunday mornings at 10:30 and attend Wednesday night Bible studies at 6:30. Connect with FGEC online, follow them on Facebook, download their app, and visit their new website at myfgec.org with live YouTube video streams as well as recordings of services and special events. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center, 304 North McLean Street in Lincoln.
Hello, Lincoln and Logan County. This is Chris Grau from Grau Chevrolet Buick in Lincoln. When it comes time to choose someone to repair your car, truck, or SUV, Don't you think you'd feel more comfortable working with the local people you know and trust? Our team in Service, Parts, and Detail have the tools, training, and knowledge that will get your repairs done quickly with less downtime and at the right price. Call the local pros at 217-735-4444 at Grau Chevrolet Buick on North Kickapoo Street in Lincoln.
An accident or injury can happen any day. If you're living without health insurance, now is the time to find a health insurance plan to protect you and your family. New, low-cost plans cover doctor's visits, hospital stays, prescriptions, preventative care, and more. And you could get a tax credit to help you afford insurance. So call me, Dara Entwistle, 217-737-7581 to help you find a plan that's right for you.
There we are. We're back on the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN. Our guest today, Mayor Tracy Welch, up until 4:30. 217-648-5510, the number to call. We invite you to tune in tomorrow morning to the Viewpoint program with Dara Entwistle. Last week we had guests from the committee from the Fall Festival for Atlanta, and this week the scheduled guests are committee members from the Mount Pulaski Fall Festivals, both of those going on during this upcoming weekend. So, but right now, as I said, we've got Mayor Welch in the studio. A couple things happening in the city that I've read about, and maybe you can tell us more about. Number one, the camera registration program. That seems like just sort of a common sense thing to do, but until I read about it, I was like, I wonder why we never did that before. Can you kind of tell folks what that is and how they can participate?
Yeah, this is a program that Chief Meister became aware of through the course of his job. And we talked about it, and I'm just like, yes, it's a no-brainer. I was like you. I said, let's do it. The program essentially is this. If you have cameras on your property, you're not giving the police access to your cameras. You're simply saying, if there's a crime in this area, I want you to know that we have cameras, and then you can come to us, and then we'll give you what we have. And so rather than police canvassing, knocking on doors when things like that happen, they know exactly where to look.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, otherwise, and I could see it take, if there's something, residential burglary, for example, and they, within a couple blocks, they have to go door to door and ask, do you have a camera on your, your property, or a Ring doorbell, or whatever it might be. That would obviously take some hours, but if you just have a list about, okay, these three have it, let's go ask them. Like, seems like a no-brainer. And just to emphasize again, it's not, an invasion of privacy kind of thing. It's not like the police can look at your cameras 24/7, like whenever they want. So it's just a matter of, hey, this happened. Someone might call you or visit you and say, do you have footage we can look at?
Yeah, they have no log into your systems. It's just a simple request. Hey, we had a crime happen. We see that you've got cameras, and thank you for registering them. Can you look and see if your cameras might have caught anything that could help us solve the crime? And that's really what it's about. It's about helping the police solve crimes faster. And I think it will prove to be a valuable program. We've already got quite a few people that have signed up and registered their camera system. So if you're interested, there's information on the city website. You can go out and take a look at it, and please register your cameras.
Okay. And the website address is?
LincolnIL.gov.
Okay. And while we're on matters of the city here and law enforcement of one form or another, mentioned to me that there is now a code enforcement officer in place for the city.
Yeah, this is something the council budgeted for this past year at the recommendation of myself, the chief, some of the council members. The gist of it is that we have code enforcement, and the individuals that work in that department do a phenomenal job, but there's an awful lot of things going on. There are things related to code enforcement that the police has to take care of as well. And most people have heard us talk about it. The climate in the state of Illinois has made it a little difficult for people to make that commitment to be law enforcement officers. So we're short-staffed. We have a great department full of men and women that do a great job, but we're short-staffed. And so when it comes to writing a ticket for a parked trailer or your grass is blown in the street, things like that take away time where officers are trying to combat real more important crimes, drugs, things of that nature.
Right.
So we hired an officer part-time, and this gentleman is actually a retired law enforcement officer.
Okay.
And so he is equipped and has the training to deal with the public. And so he's going to simply help the department out doing some of those things that the men and women currently on the force don't have time to do.
Okay.
So
code enforcement is a very broad term, though. Like you mentioned,
Yep.
it could be, like you said, grass in the street. It could be rundown property.
we nuisances. We get structures that aren't done, cars parked in yards, dogs are barking at all excessive hours of the evening. It really just runs the gamut. Noise too loud at night, motorcycles, speeding cars. So a lot of that stuff is addressed by our current staff, but it's the other tedious things like we have a trailer that's been parked here too long. It's obstructing view. We usually put a sticker on those trailers. They can then go out and put that sticker. But the very important thing to stress here is that we didn't bring this person on just to write tickets. We actually want them to go knock on a door, engage with the person, have a conversation, and just say, hey, this is code violation. Can you correct it? We would prefer that people are compliant with the code and they don't have to go through the whole process of the letters they receive and all of that. So it's really trying to be proactive.
Okay. And if folks do have issues with maybe code enforcement, maybe a structure nearby or a nuisance in their neighborhood, how would they go about letting someone know about that?
They can call the Municipal Services Building, the Code Enforcement Office. That number is on the city website. We also have an app called GoLink, and you can put it on your iPhone or Android. It's a very simple registration. You go through take a photo, tell us what's wrong. The app will tell you where you're at, and then it goes into our system, and then we actually follow through on that. And then as we're working the ticket and the problem, you're getting responses back on your phone. So it's a two-way communication with people that are trying to help us, enforce code. It's not meant to be rat on your neighbor.
Right.
It's meant please report things that are very obvious and then require our attention, and then we'll look into it.
Sure. Okay. Once again, our guest is Mayor Tracy Welch. She's here until 4:30. If you have questions of Mayor Welch or comments or whatever you would like to ask him, he's fair game for another 11 minutes here. 217-648-5510, the number to call. We will go ahead and take our second break of the show, and we'll be back in 2 minutes with Mayor Welch.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butterburger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln.
Hi, Joe Ryan here with Country Financial. As pensions go by the wayside and your retirement approaches, have you thought about what your retirement income will look like? No, I'm not talking about how much money you have saved. I am talking about a retirement income, a guaranteed paycheck for life. That's right, a paycheck issued to you every month for the rest of your life. Sound interesting? Let's talk. 735-4385.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. Got about 8 minutes left with Mayor Tracy Welch from Lincoln. 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions or comments you would like to make. We can't have a show without saying something about the 5th Street project, but hopefully this is... what do I want to say? Hopefully it's good news, or hopefully it's definitely good news. I know it's still kind of tentative, but we'll look at it in a positive light. But the latest on the 5th Street project?
Well, you said it. It's the end tentatively is near, at least for getting some shovels in the ground. So a lot of work has gone into it to get to this point, and so we are hopeful that we'll be on the IDOT letting schedule in January, and if that happens and there are no hiccups, then we should have shovels in the ground in the spring. Okay. So stress the importance of tentative, and things can and sometimes do happen.
Sure. And no kind of ballpark as far as once the shovels are in the ground, how long the project will take?
You're probably looking at a 18 to 24 month project.
Okay.
It makes sense. We've talked about this a little bit at the city, that it would make sense to take that stretch of road and break it up into phases, simply for the fact that we have operating businesses out there. Some of those road sections are not going to require the same treatment, right. But in the end, it'll be a nice new surface, and we'll have proper drainage coming off of there and going to the appropriate places. So, yeah, I mean, it's long overdue, and I know people are excited about it.
And so what is the, or what are the sort of boundaries of that project as far as where does it start, as far as near Lincoln, and how far out does it extend?
Well, there's a section of county road that goes beyond Conley, comes all the way to the Parkway on 5th Street, and then that road itself, it was scheduled to be 2 lanes with a turn lane. It's now been reduced down to 2 lanes. Okay. There was a bike path that was part of it. The bike path isn't going to get done as part of this, but the ground itself should still be there for the bike path. Okay. If the city wishes to do that in a future project. The big part is the drainage. I mean, we've already actually started working on some drainage problems out there, but it'll actually get the attention it needs, proper culverts, drainage. It's going to come actually down to 5th Street. It'll cross somewhere around where Capsule's at. There's a retention back there by the hotel. So a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of work.
Lots of moving parts.
Yep.
So let's see. So that's 5th Street. So maybe we'll go to a couple more positive things. City of Lincoln partnering with the Lincoln Park District for a family event coming up later this month.
Yeah. Family movie night. This was, again, it kind of happened the same way the Parade of Champions did. We have that park. Some people wanted us to do an additional Third Fridays, and we thought, what a better way than to just utilize the space we have and do a movie night. So we sat down with the Park District, and Becky Straight at the Park District and Ashley Metalco, my assistant. They worked through all the details. It worked out very well. I think, all things considered, we're going to have a movie night. The DARE program is going to be out there providing hot dogs and drinks for free. I believe there's actually some other trailers or individuals that are going to do like nachos or shaved ice, maybe for a small fractional cost or something to that effect. So, we hope everybody comes out. It's on the 21st at 6 o'clock.
And the park we're talking about is the former site of the hospital.
Yes.
On 8th Street.
It's where the dog park is, the fitness court, the old 8th Street. It's actually called the 8th Street Park by code, believe it or not. And we're going to be playing the movie If. Okay. So if you have seen it or if you haven't, I'd come watch it again. It's a great movie.
With you at the helm, I would have sworn it would have been in like maybe the Willy Wonka update or something like that.
No, I'd love to. I watch Willy Wonka all the time, but
okay.
no. I actually saw this movie not too long ago. It's got a really good message about it. I would say that if you watch the movie and you probably don't at least tear up at some point, you're probably not paying attention to the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I know a lot of the cast members, a lot of familiar voices there in the cast. So
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but yeah. So that is the 21st, 7 o'clock.
Well, I think we're going to start everything at about 6 because sunset will be at about 7. So we're going to be serving the hot dogs and stuff in the hour prior.
Okay.
So yeah, come out at 6 o'clock. We're working out the parking details still, but for the most part, yeah, come out.
All right, sounds good. And then one more upcoming event a little bit further down the road, but folks can still get it on their radar. The ever popular Coffee with the Mayor.
Yes.
It's still, you're always in direct competition with cheap seats on those. So I don't know if
What time do you guys do them?
9 to 10. So.
Oh. Well, maybe we'll have to change that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
Are you going to come by if we do?
Maybe we can simulcast or something.
We have done that before.
Really? Okay.
Remember we did a Coffee with the Mayor during the cheap seats?
I don't.
Yeah, I came on one time when we talked about it.
Was that Coffee with the Mayor?
Well, we turned it into Coffee with the Mayor.
There was coffee.
Next time it could be donuts with Joe there.
Okay, yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we could work through that.
all right, we'll figure something out.
But yeah, it's October 19th at 9 o'clock. We had a really good turnout last time. It gets better and better every time we do it.
Were there particular topics or themes that came up this time, or was it pretty much
The
hodgepodge?
racetrack, community safety was a big thing. We had Westwood Hall and Walt Landers, so we talked about some road projects, code enforcement. It really just ran the gamut. Talk about properties that have problems sometimes that are of a concern to somebody that's there at the event.
Mm-hmm.
This next time we're going to have Chief Meister with me. Haven't got an alderman yet selected to sit in on it with me, but I think Chief Meister will be good to talk about the safety aspects.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been here before and
Yep.
enjoyed having him here. Let's see, we are just a couple minutes left. How's your arm? Have you fully recovered from throwing out that first pitch at the softball
That first
tournament?
pitch was pretty tough. The practice was tougher than the pitch
Yeah,
itself.
you were warming up like a full hour for a 30-second pitch.
Well, I was afraid that if I threw it, it would just go like
Oh.
off to the. It would be much like when I golf.
Really?
It never goes where I expect it to go.
Yeah,
That's why I don't play golf.
I have that same problem too. So,
Yeah.
let's see. Any other upcoming events? Or have we got anything? Probably, since we're getting into fall, there's probably not a whole lot of outdoorish types of things like electronics recycling or anything of that nature that's up and
No.
coming. So,
No, but I would say this weekend is the Civic Golf outing.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you want to come out, that's Saturday. And then next week we talked about it as Rail Splitter.
right.
And that's always a really good event too. So, there's always something to do in town.
Sure. The Rail Splitting Festival taking place at Postville Courthouse, I believe,
does.
is the center of activity. So,
21st, is it 21st and 22nd?
yeah, I believe so. And of course, for all the local events, you can go to WLCNonline.com, click on the community calendar, or sign up for the the 96.3 411 email newsletter, which has a listing of events in it. So, all right, I think we're going to let you out of here without a phone call. So
There you go.
we'll just have two next time, maybe. So thanks to Mayor Welch for being with us. Again, tune in tomorrow to Viewpoint when our Dara Entwistle, our host, will have guests, the committee members from the Mount Pulaski Fall Festival. And once again, thanks to Mayor Welch for being with us. I am Loyd Kirby. This has been the 4 p.m. 411. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.